All right, good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. I'm Jenny McCullum. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer for JEA and the Chair of the Awards Committee. I'd like to call the July 1st, 2021 Awards meeting to order. We do have a quorum on site with Haivu, Joe Arfano, and Steve Selders sitting in for Stephen Datz. And then through WebEx, we've got Ricky Erickson and Laura Dutton. OGC is represented by Julie Davis, and Budget is represented by Lori Whitmer. Before we get started, do we have any public comments either in the room or emailed and prior to the meeting?
No public comments.
Thank you. Do we have anyone on the phone that would like to make public comments on the agenda for today? All right, seeing none, we will start going through our agenda. We have items 1 through 8. They have all been reviewed by Procurement and by Budget and are ready for the Awards Committee review. We will go through each one of these awards individually, and I will ask if there are any questions or comments for the committee, and we will work through any of those, and then we will move to a motion to approve with a second, and then we'll roll call through each individual committee member for their individual approval. We'll start with the meeting minutes from the June 24th meeting. Do we have any comments or questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 24th.
Haivu, so moved.
Joe Arfano, second.
Laura. Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee, starting with Haivu.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Laura Dutton. Approved. Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
And Steve Selders.
Approved.
Thank you. We have award item number 2. It's an invitation for bid. This is for our streetlight materials for JEA inventory. We have 83 specific items from poles, brackets, light fixtures to miscellaneous accessories. We have 3 awardees that we are recommending. Stuart Irby in the amount of $3,725,329.20. We have Electric Supply Inc. in the amount of $3,025,313, and we have Gresco Supply in the amount of $5,802,559. This is a 3-year award, and I'll walk you through a little bit of what we did from an evaluation standpoint. We did receive 3 bids. We qualified all 3, and we have awarded based off of groupings. We've grouped things together where appropriate, and so where there were similar items, we did that for continuity and supply, given that there are many items, for projects. But where that wasn't critical, we elected to award individual items, or we cherry-picked the items. So Stuart Irby was the lowest cost proposed awardee for 27 items on the pole and bracket, and 3 items on the decorative light tab, and then 8 items on the accessories tab. And then they also had 1 item on another tab. Gresco was the lowest proposer for 27 items on the primary lights tab, and then Electric Supply Inc. was the lowest on 7 items on the decorative lights, and then 6 on the accessories. And in doing this, we have been able to reduce the current cost of what we see on our current contract by 18%, which over the 3 years is a little over $2.8 million. We're even seeing this, which was to our surprise, even with the increase, we had about a 50% increase just on the pole and brackets due to just the market conditions with aluminum, fiberglass, and concrete. So this is a remarkable savings, and it has a lot to do with the way that we put this bid together and working with Chris Rosenhauer's group. And I'll open it up. And Chris, if you want to just comment on some of the good work that you and our team did to open up this competition, I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, all right, thanks, Jenny. Well, one of the things I did is when I moved back into standards, all these bids were going on, and actually I think the streetlight bid was going to open in just like a few days after I moved back into that area. And so I'd asked Kenny to put a hold, give us about a month. And so that's what, y'all did, and appreciate y'all working with us. A lot of the savings, like I said, I think there's multiple things we did. We approved additional manufacturers. King Luminaire was sole source for the decorative fixtures for many years. We approved Holophane as an equal. In order to do that, we kind of changed some of the packaging to where some things were packaged separately before, but we combined them. So it didn't matter whether we had Holophane or King in inventory, depending on, when you issue the material. We made a lot of changes to the specifications, some lead lengths that were included with the fixtures that really weren't being used. We eliminated those. We made some changes actually to the warranties. We had required a 10-year warranty, but a 5-year warranty is actually standard in the industry. And quite honestly, if you specify 5 or 10, you're getting the exact same fixture. The only thing that difference is the manufacturers will increase the price, to cover themselves, if there's any warranty issues. So we did that. And like I said, we approved for several of the items. We approved some of the major manufacturers, Acuity, Cooper Lighting, and also GE, where we only had maybe one manufacturer approved before. So anyways, and like I said, what you mentioned earlier, how we kind of structured the bid by cherry picking some of the items, that was instrumental. And thanks to Kenny also for working with me too. I did like a last minute addendum to make some changes, but like I said, I'm really pleased with the results. So anyways, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Great work. This is a perfect example of how we can save additional funds when we do not have just one source, driving the market. So great work for all parties involved. I'll just make a quick note. One of the other things that procurement also worked with the vendors on were the price adjustments. So they will adjust to PPI. So there's an electric lighting equipment manufacturing PPI. That will happen annually. But with the current market the way that it is, in addition, JEA and the respondents were willing to entertain any cost adjustments on a more frequent PPI adjustment or a manufacturer direct pass-through price increase if properly documented and verified to be justifiable in nature. So when we see issues like this in the market, to be able to do a longer term contract for 3 years, we added some of that flexibility in to protect and reduce risk, not just on the supplier side, but the JEA side. I don't know if you want to comment on anything else, Kenny, in regards to the updated pricing adjustment, or if you need to add anything to what I already stated.
No, I think that covers it, and part of that extra adjustment was to protect JEA. With you seeing over $1 million in increases on poles and brackets, if the market does go down, given that this is a long-term contract, we'll want the pricing to go back down the opposite direction. So that's part of the reason for that additional language in there, as opposed to terminating for convenience and having to go do a new solicitation. We've sort of structured it in there that we can see the pricing go both directions.
Perfect. Thank you. This, in my opinion, and I'll open it up to the committee, but this, in my opinion, we're halfway through the calendar year, 3/4 way almost through the fiscal year, and this is the Gold Star Award that I have seen all year, so great work. But do we have any comments or questions from the committee members?
Hey, Jenny, hi. Great work by the team, but I do have a question for Chris or somebody on the street lighting side, I guess. in reducing the warranty from 10 to 5 years, probably a good move, but did anyone look at how much warranty work we had been requiring between year 5 and 10? The reason I ask, I don't want us to reduce the capital cost, but then increase our O&M cost between years 5 and 10.
We have now we have seen some warranty returns high. Just to give you a little background, initially, when LED with the technology, a lot of the utilities were a little hesitant, a little concerned about, because of the cost of the fixtures to kind of protect themselves. All the manufacturers saying, the long life and everything with LED. So I think the 10-year initially was a smart decision. I think at this point, though, the technology has improved greatly, and it's a little bit more, I guess, mainstream now. So that's the reality, is that we can specify a 10-year warranty, but we'll end up paying for it.
Sure.
But it's I'm confident that the fixtures, that we'll be able to exercise any warranties if needed. Most of the time, if there's going to be an issue, it's going to be within less than 5 years with that fixture. Usually it's going to be within the first 6 months. Probably there might be an issue with the driver or something like that. So like I said, I'm confident that it was a good decision, and ultimately I don't know exactly how much it impacted all the individual costs, but I think it was that was a good decision to go with. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Chris. I appreciate
You're welcome.
it.
Any other questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 2.
So moved.
Hey, Jim. This is Ricky, second.
Great. Who was the first? I heard Ricky.
Oh, sorry, it was Steve.
Steve Selders, great. Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 2, starting with Steve Selders.
Approved.
Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Laura Dutton. Approved. Joe Arfano.
Approved.
And Hyville.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 3, this is a real estate award. This is for easement acquisition. JEA has negotiated into negotiations for an easement purchase with the Kickerbocker Properties, Inc. for a water line to serve the Deerwood treatment plant. The recommended amount is $84,200. And I'll just give you a little bit of background. Per the procurement code, this is a procurement directive and exempt through the procurement process. However, real estate does bring anything to the awards committee for approval that ranges from $50,000 to $500,000. Anything above that goes to the board. So I'll just give some other history. JEA installed a water line crossing the St. Johns River as part of the Total Water Management Plan. The project's final connection was a water plant in the Arlington area near Southside Boulevard and Bradley Road. JEA is now connecting this pipeline from the Bradley Road pump station to the Deerwood water treatment plant off Southside. As part of this project, JEA is acquiring additional easement rights to install this pipeline and future pipelines in the easterly 75 feet of the corridor. So JEA has acquired and continues to acquire additional easement rights necessary from property owners along the project route. And then I'll just note how we came up with the award amount. The appraised value is $54,200, but we have also agreed to pay the seller his attorney's fees not to exceed $10,000, and then also negotiated an additional $20,000 fee to help install a fence along the easement boundary. So I'm going to pass it to Jordan. Is there anything you want to add or anything I missed that the committee should know about?
I don't think so, Jenny. We're happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
Oh, this is a great write-up.
So they trust the electric side, but not the water side. Now you gotta put a fence up.
Jenny.
It's a great write-up. I see Selders has written that up. Is that a partial comment, Steve?
Jenny, this is Julie Davis. I just wanted to clarify one thing. Is this the correct, in the box where it has the award, recommended awardee, is that the correct name of the Knickerbocker Properties, Inc. XX, or is that XX a typo?
Placeholder, I'll pass that to Jordan.
Hi, Julie. Actually, it's Elaine
Oh, go ahead.
Selders, and I did check on Sunbiz. There's actually several of them, different Knickerbocker properties, so it was XX. It was unusual.
So it comes after the Inc.? That's what surprised me, I guess.
It
Okay.
did, yeah.
Okay, that's very unusual. I'm sorry. I was going to check it and I didn't have a chance to. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, Elaine. And great write-up, Elaine. I agree with your husband.
And I agree as well. We appreciate Elaine.
Elaine gets a gold star today, too.
Oh, thank you all. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, can I get a motion to approve award number 3?
Joe Orfano, so moved.
Harbu, second.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 3, starting with Joe Orfano.
Approved.
Haivu,
Approved.
Steve Selders,
Approved.
Ricky Erickson,
Approved.
and Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 4 is a contract amendment. This is for our construction management at risk services for the Southwest Water Reclamation Facility expansion. Garney Companies, Inc. is our recommended awardee, and the award amount is $4,365,000. We are expected this project to be completed in January of 2024. And it was originally brought to the awards committee in December of 2019 in the amount of a little over $700,000 for pre-construction services. We also brought awards committee approval, some interim GMPs for the purchase and install of the UV system. So this one would be our what we were calling our GMP, our third GMP quote. And this is for the purchase of major process treatment equipment that have really long lead times, which we have spelled out in the background. We also have a great write-up and a summary table of everything that the awards committee has seen with the 3 different GMPs and our new total proposed not to exceed amount. Do we have any questions or comments on award number 4? Okay, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 4.
Laura Dutton, so moved.
Thanks, Laura. Can I get a second?
Harbu, second.
Thanks, Hi. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 4, starting with Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Haivu,
Approved.
Joe Orfano,
Approved.
Steve Selders,
Approved.
and Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 5 is a joint project. This is for a water main replacement. You guys have seen this once before. This award will go to the Florida Department of Transportation, so we have a joint project with them, and the award amount is $423,469.42. We are expecting this project to be completed in September of 2023. And we originally brought this to the awards committee back in September, and the amount of $2.5 million approximately. So that was a prepayment to the FDOT, and they went and they bid this out. And at bid opening, the pricing came in slightly higher than what they had originally estimated. So there's a summary in the background that talks about what we've paid, or what JEA's portion is. It's about $2.9 million. And so we've already paid them about 2.5. So this award will cover the remaining amount of what we owe per the bid that we received. They did go low bid for JEA's portion, and I will pass it over to Michael if there's anything else that you want to add.
Thanks, Jenny. Appreciate it. Really not a whole lot more to add. You've said it very eloquently here. This is a post-bid reconciliation with the department. The low bidder did come in, and this is the low bid for the project, so we do owe them the additional $423,000 and change for them to award the project to the low bidder. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Any questions or comments from the committee? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 5.
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Joe Orfano, second.
Thanks, Joe. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 5, starting with Haizu.
Approved.
Joe Orfano.
Approved.
Steve Selders.
Approved.
Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
And Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Thank you. Award number 6 is a renewal. This is for our wastewater odor control chemicals. UPS Technologies is the recommended awardee in the amount of $2,120,000. This was originally approved by the awards committee back in July of 2018, in the amount a little under $6.5 million, and that was for the initial 3-year term. This is the execution of the first renewal option. And there's a note, UPS Technologies has performed well throughout the original contract term, so we would like to move forward with the renewal. And there is a slight increase of 3.7 or 3.27% to the unit prices for the renewal term, which we have reviewed with the current market and deemed that reasonable. Joe or anyone from the business want to add anything to comments on award number 6?
Hey, Jenny, this is Joe Perez. Just wanted to say that, yes, we looked at this increase and deemed it reasonable. When looking at comparable indices on the industrial chemical side, we've seen increases that are, far bigger than this, probably 10, 20%. And on the labor side, for the CPI, just our basic CPI, that has been 5%. So we think this is reasonable for this chemical, so we want to take advantage of this pricing.
Thank you, Joe. That was a great comment. Any other questions or comments from the awards committee?
How do they apply this stuff directly to lift stations? Or
Into the gravity system.
right into the walls or anything? Oh, interesting.
I couldn't quite hear you, Steve, but it sounded like Hai answered your question.
Yeah, he did. Sorry. It was just a non-contract related question.
Okay. All right. Any other comments? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 6.
Steve Selders, so moved.
Thanks, Steve. Can we get a second? Laura
I
Dutton,
agree.
second. Thanks, Laura. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 6, starting with Steve Selders.
Approved?
Laura Dutton. Approved. Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
And Haivu.
Approved.
Wonderful. Award number 7. This was an invitation for bid for Mandarin Water Reclamation Facility outfall stabilization. Anderson Diving, Inc., doing business as Logan Diving and Salvage, is the recommended awardee. And the award amount is $346,225, with the expected project completion September of 2021. There is a little bit of information in the background about, we only received 1 bid. Historically, there are 2 diving companies that typically bid on work, and one of them declined to bid on the project due to their existing work schedule. The award amount is approximately 15% higher than the budget. This was a lump sum bid, which adds a little bit of risk, but Logan Diving did perform an underwater survey for the project, so they are familiar with the work that is required. And so we have deemed this to be reasonable, and I will open it up for questions, if any.
So, Jenny, you brought up a good point. This is a lump sum, and there's so much unknown under the water. What if they go down there? There's more erosion than expected. How would we address the change order?
Well, I'll pass it to Joe. I'm not sure if we've got SWA included in this or not on the bid.
No,
Workbook.
hey, this is Joe. No, there wasn't really a workbook on this one. We had
Okay.
anticipated this one to come in as informal.
Yeah.
So everything was kept fairly simple and straightforward. So there is no SWA. If we can always increase it up to a 10% without coming back to awards, should there be, unforeseen things with the project. Over the 10%, of course, we would have to come back.
Mm-hmm. And that 10% is typically about what we would put in for SWA, correct, on our regular?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. So we have some flexibility,
No, I understand that part of it. I'm just worried about how do we negotiate with a contractor on unit prices if we have no basis from the original contract.
Yeah, this one wasn't a unit price one. So what we would have to see from the vendor if they think that they need additional work is a scope of work of what it would take to complete the work, and it would be up for us to approve.
Yeah, and since it is lump sum, they would have to it would have to be compelling, and that's why we do lump sum. It's to reduce the risk on us, so that is the cost. So a change order is typically not something that we would consider. We do have some flexibility if they can show us a reason why and some backup as to how they came up with their cost. It's always up to JEA to approve or deny those. They have done the underwater survey, though, so I think they do believe that they understand what that work is going to entail.
Hey, this is Rodney, and not to jump in on somebody else's award too much, but in the past, prior to contract execution, where we've done a lump sum, we have asked the awardee for their T&M rate sheets, basically the cost plus markup type of deal. if we did come across discovery work, because that kind of gives us a better level of comfort on locking it in. But on lump sum, when there's additional discovery work, it can be kind of difficult to understand what the costs are. So just offer that comment.
Thanks, Rodney. You absolutely see more of these than the water side does, so appreciate that.
And this is Katie Templeton. They are providing concrete burlap bagged pier supports for 9 of the 28 H pilings that are 100% wasted. So that's the scope of the work. We're not anticipating them going down into saying that we need to add another concrete bag piling. We also had Constantine look at this outfall and select the locations of those pilings. So they are going off an engineering design.
Oh, okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Kathleen. Do you go by Katie or Kathleen?
I go by Katie.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 7.
I vote so moved.
Joe Orfano, second.
Can I get a second? Thanks, Joe. All right, we'll roll call through the committee, starting with Haivu.
Approved.
Joe Orfano.
Approved.
Steve Selders.
Approved.
Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
And Laura Dutton.
Approved.
Thank you. Well, last award is award number 8. This is a request for proposal. This is for Brandy Branch heat trace repair to provide inspection, audit, maintenance, and repair services for JEA's heat trace systems. We are expected to have this completed by September of 2022. And Patriot Thermal Controls, Inc. is our recommended awardee in the amount of $320,163. We received 4 bids, and this came in about 8% lower than our estimate. And I think I will pass it over to Rodney or Lisa to give us some details on how the work was submitted with the lump sum and the T&M rates and how we plan to manage that.
Sure, this is Rodney Lovegren. So this work is going to have some discovery in it. We had an audit done some while ago for the different heat trace systems at Brandy Branch, which some are just tripped offline and don't work. Some there's different grounds or faults in them, and we have a current forecast scope of work. When we bid it out, a couple of the bidders the first time, if you guys recall, this was rescinded probably about a month and a half ago, were uncomfortable in giving lump sum pricing for the heat trace repair portion of the work. And so we rescinded, we reissued the bid, we did site walkthroughs with them again, gave them more time to get comfortable with the job so they could submit lump sum pricing. As a part of the work, there's scaffolding that has to be done. And then obviously some of the circuits, once they get into them, they may find more issues. And so there's a T&M rate sheet that we have if there's any additional work that needs to be completed on the circuits. So, the lowest bidder, Patriot, and then actually Brace, they were the ones that were able to submit the most complete lump sum pricing for the heat trace repairs and for the insulation repairs. And to evaluate it, we came up with a methodology and a proposal to evaluate on the basis of the lump sum and the T&M pricing. And that's where the ranking is at. And that's why you'll notice there's a normalized pricing column, because we had to use some plugged in values to evaluate each company. So we evaluated on a complete basis of all the work normalized, and then I also evaluated just to see what it would look like just for the lump sum pricing. And in every case, Patriot Thermal was the highest evaluated company. So for the majority of the work, lump sum bidding will be used, and then for the discovery work that comes up, the T&M rates that were provided by Patriot will be used to close out the project. There will be several outages required in this too, so that's why there's a longer duration just to complete the work. But right now we're looking at the end of next year. And if it goes beyond that because of outages and they're not able to get to certain circuits, they may have to go a little bit longer than that. But that's in general how we plan to run the project.
Thanks, Rodney.
Hey,
Ricky,
Rodney.
I see you shaking your head. Do you have any questions? Yes? No?
I'm good. They kind of briefed me on it, so I'm good.
Good. Okay.
Hi,
did you have any questions? Okay.
I do. I understand the need to normalize the bid pricing, but I'm asking about why are you using the highest values from the other bidders versus the lowest or the average? Because if the contractor can't do the work, then you would obviously go out and bid the project or find somebody that would provide the lowest bid, lowest cost to do the work. So on one hand, wouldn't you want to use the low numbers from the other bidders, or at least the average?
Yeah. So, this is Rod Lugren again. So you could decide to use the average of the low. If you're using the lowest prices from other bidders, if you had two vendors that are pretty much tied in pricing, and then one other vendor who was not really in the running had the lowest pricing for a line item, and you use that, you could artificially sway it towards the one of the vendors that didn't have a fixed price in for that line, and so we made the determination that we were going to use the higher price to evaluate them. And I mean, some vendors will say, hey, I feel like that's a penalty to me when I'm in, and the response is basically, well, we asked you for a lump sum price, so the guy that gave the lump sum price for that line item is afforded the advantage. And we reviewed it, and I kind of talked it through with OGC from an evaluation standpoint, and we were comfortable as long as it was clearly documented in the solicitation, the approach, that it would be acceptable. And even if you take away those line items that were evaluated with that lump sum higher price from another vendor, and you take that away and just use the items where everyone had submitted pricing, Patriot still came out as the lowest price on a lump sum basis for all the lines where pricing was submitted as well.
So when did we make the decision to use the highest values? Was it after you got the results and you determined that some folks did not submit a more complete bid package, or was the decision made beforehand of how you're going to deal with this situation?
No, the approach to evaluation was in the solicitation that was issued out to the suppliers. So if you go through and you look at the solicitation document associated with this, we tell them, one, you have to submit pricing for all of the heat trace work, fixed price. And if you did not do that, then you would be rejected. So these guys all submitted pricing for the heat trace work. And then when it got into the insulation and scaffolding, if you didn't submit pricing for all the line items, or you submitted just T&M rates for those line items, you were going to get a plug value of the highest pricing from the other bidders. So if you submitted all your fixed pricing, you were going to get basically no increased prices to count against you. If you did not, you were going to get basically the highest prices for the lump sum biddings from one of the other companies. So the two companies that didn't submit, they received that plug number from the other companies, and it lays it out in the solicitation and the evaluation table, and what that does is it basically says, hey, the guy that submits the most complete, the most thorough, the most lump sum pricing or fixed pricing is going to be graded better from an evaluation standpoint. Isn't that's advantageous to JEA for the mitigating the risks associated with the project and price changes, and for project management as far as having to reconcile T&M rate sheets. So we felt like that was the best approach.
Thank you, Rodney. So I understand all bidders knew the rules of the game before this one. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Rodney.
Jenny, it's Joe. I think that's an important distinction because some of these bids, we're actually splitting out and awarding based on price, lowest price. So here, when we're asking for a lump sum, it makes sense. I think it's a conservative approach to, if they're not submitting the individual component, if they're only submitting partial, they're going to get penalized with the highest cost on the other component. I think it makes sense. That was very well explained, Rodney.
Thank you.
Joe gives you a gold star today, too.
That's a gold star award.
We've had 3 gold stars
That's what
today.
I live for.
That's a big day. Any other comments or questions? All right, I'll ask for a motion to approve award number 8.
This is Ricky, so moved.
Thanks, Ricky. Can I get a second?
I will second it.
Thank you. We'll roll call through the committee to approve award number 8, starting with Ricky Erickson.
Approved.
Haivu.
Approved.
Joe Arfano.
Approved.
Steve Selders.
Approved.
And last, but certainly not least, Laura Dutton. Approved. Thank you. All right, so we have approved the entire agenda for July 1st, 2021. Is there any other business to come before the awards committee? All right, everybody cross every body part that Elsa will let it go somewhere else, not to Jacksonville. And you guys can partially blame me if it does, because I do have vacation scheduled for next week, which is par for the course. So
of course you do.
Of course, yeah. So I will be watching it very closely and being very flexible in those plans as we get a little bit closer to the weekend and we kind of see what it's going to do over the weekend. But everybody be prepared. Make sure you guys have your plans in place personally so that we can make sure that we give everything we can to JEA if needed for a logistical storm, not just on our side, logistics, but throughout the company. So anyways, I am counting on everyone to cross everything they have, body parts, everything, and we will hopefully see that go in a different direction. And if you guys have any other business, all right, we are adjourned. Thank you and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank